You, created only a little lower than the angels, have crouched too long in the bruising darkness, have lain too long face down in ignorance, your mouths spilling words armed for slaughter.
I need a miracle. Yeah.
The horizon leans forward, offering you space to place new steps of change. Here, on the pulse of this fine day, very simply, with hope. Good morning.
My name is Sally Martin, originally from Kenya. Even in a million years, I would never have thought to share my story with the world, which was really, really rough and dark in my life a few years ago. And I got myself in deep, deep, dark waters, and I wanted to end my life. I've been working in community for many, many years, and I love supporting people. I love really helping people, and I've worked a lot with people who are heavily involved in substance use and addictions.
When I first met Sally, we both worked at the Mustard Seed together. And so yeah, that's how we first met. I think there's a couple things that stood out. One was her, and so the way that she thought about community and the way that she valued people was something that really stood out to me, and probably why I hired her.
I'm supposed to be here to give hope to people. And how could I be so hopeless myself? I come from a culture where we don't express vulnerability. We don't talk about tough things. And so I had learned very well to bottle up things in my life. I had been going through so much trauma as a kid, even as a young adult. But it didn't register as trauma, again, because it's not anything that I knew.
You know, I witnessed my grandfather beating my grandmother to the point that sometimes I thought she would bleed to death. This went on for years. My mother, my little sister, and I were also victims of an armed robbery. It was quite terrifying. I actually remember taking my sister out of bed and holding her in my arms and going under the bed to hide with her. I was just 7 and my sister was just a couple of months. She'd just been born. And when I was 20, I was a victim of police brutality. And so I realized that police brutality is not just in the US.
I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do and no one's gonna even hear your fucking voice.
We see it all over the world. And it wasn't after that I started feeling the need to work in the community. And I think my own personal experiences were really inspiring me, I would say, to be able to support those that were victims of different forms of violence in the community.
I need to appreciate the people.
Then when I was 26, I had the opportunity to work with the United Nations Women as the regional consultant for the East and Southern African regions. And then I moved to Canada at the age of 27.
Hello everyone, my name is Sally Martin.
And although my career had taken off and I was in a better country, it felt as though my mental struggles were just getting started.
It is your job as an ally.
And I remember when the world was going wild about George Floyd. And so one day, I was at a friend's house, and she said, Sally, oh my God, oh, these people, oh, they're shooting. Oh, the people are throwing stones and stuff. And I said, why are people doing this? Is this the first time? And she said, you haven't watched the video? I said, no. Okay, you gotta watch this video, you have to watch it. And I remember watching that video. And it was in that moment I felt such a sharp pain. I almost could not finish watching it. It just instantly struck me. And also going through racism, I went through very traumatic experiences in my life. And so there were so many compounding issues, but that was just like, it just completely opened up the wounds, and a month full of struggle, a lot of contemplation. And I was not able to go anywhere to do anything. And nothing that I loved, not only was I able to go do them, I didn't want to do them. I didn't have any interest in them. I remember sleeping in bed the whole day. And I took time off work and said, I gotta work on myself. I can't show up to work broken. I started therapy and, kind of worked through it, but it was a couple of years of therapy. I mean, I had not been able to have any, relationship as well. I was terrified of even men. I just couldn't see myself in that place. And I remember at one point, one winter, I said, I don't want to leave. I want to just go and stay in the cold and just freeze to death.
It's one that has affected many communities. There's depression, it could be loss of work, it could be breakdown in family relationships. We've seen war, for example, we've seen inflation, we've had COVID, we've had loss of employment for so many people. Those factors, when compounded, really increase the chance.
One of the things that I remember is that she didn't want to tell people that she wasn't doing well. And so anyone who would ask her how she's doing, she would say, but was actually feeling really awful.
I remember sometimes going to work and some of the individuals would tell me, how do you smile every day? How are you happy every day? how can you afford to show up the way you do every day? And I remember asking myself, if only they knew, you know. I distracted myself, you know. I would go to the gym and work out and overwork out, read and read. It was almost like if I sat like this for a moment, I think I would crash. And I think that's where COVID brought me.
As we get older, and it does matter, the life experiences shift and our perception of our trauma will shift as well. And the more skills that we learn along the way, then we can learn to unpack those gently, but we can unpack it a lot slower. It can be on a walk in the rain and we just sob and we don't know why, and we've just unpacked something that happened to us when we were 6 years old. Because now maybe at 26, 36, we see it differently. Or we've had a conversation with someone like Sally and we've had a beautiful heart-forward conversation, and I now see it a little different.
I went for therapy many years ago. I went for 2 sessions and said, nah, I'm good, I can't do that. But what I didn't realize therapy was doing is that therapy was actually helping me confront those things. And so when I went to therapy, I remember feeling such excruciating pain, and I was like, I can't deal with this. But in the moment, I didn't know that it was part of the journey to healing, that I needed to open the wounds and then, you know, cover them and heal them so that they could heal. But what I did, I just put a Band-Aid on that wound without really treating it. And I went on life for so many years. My focus was so much on people that I had been so blind to my own suffering, to my own call for help for myself. But I didn't know that I also needed to help myself, and that there was so much still going on for me.
But Sally was this kind of child who was always there, supportive, always wanting to know what is going on.
I remember even after months of starting therapy, I still struggled.
I remember being in bed. Days passed by. I had just moved. I had not unpacked my clothes. The room was dark, completely dark. I couldn't go get food, and I wasn't even interested in eating. And the only thing that I had for a little bit was my laptop, and I couldn't get out of bed. And I would put a show, maybe try to watch it until I could sleep, and because I was really struggling to sleep as well. Day 1, day 2, haven't even left outside my door, my room even. And the 3rd day, I felt like, no, I can't continue this. I started having these thoughts of, I just need to call it quits. And I had gotten to a place, I was so far from it. I didn't even want to dance at all. I didn't want to move my body. I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to go for hikes. I didn't really want to do anything that was life-giving.
The mental health is not just depression, the anxiety, there is, trauma. There are different symptoms that come with the degree of mental health. That will be triggers for individuals to know that something is wrong. It could be a change in behavior, a change in mood. It could be a change in behavior, a change in mood. Those are some of the symptoms that you start to see that would make you question whether someone needs help or whether that.
And I remember reaching out to a friend of mine on my first day of really, having intense ideation to suicide. I don't know if I can do life anymore.
I remember this constant feeling of like sometimes she'd call me at 2 a.m. Like, is this gonna be the night? Like, is she actually gonna do it now? Or is this, like, what do I need to do? Like, what do I need to do? Like, I really felt, I guess to be honest, like, I really didn't want to call the police because I know she's had bad experiences, and like, that was the last thing I wanted to do because that's so invasive and it's so, I don't want her to have more trauma and it could go wrong in so many ways. So I like desperately.
I remember going to get some pills so I could sleep. And I thought, I don't ever want to wake up if I go to sleep. And my first attempt, you know, I did sleep for a while, but then eventually I woke up and I said, what happened? I'm still awake. And I said, okay, maybe let's give a shot at life. And I went out, and that day I remember I went and bought a friend lunch. But I went and I love massages, and I said, maybe I should go have a massage. And I went down, walking down the streets, and I ended up in this massage place, but I realized, no, I can't do it. I don't have the energy. And so I went and got some pills and decided to go back home. That Friday, when evening came and it was getting dark and it was cold, and I said, I hope tomorrow never comes. And I took another set of pills. But I didn't have the courage to, take all of it. I would take like half a bottle and think this is it. And I went to this restaurant, sushi restaurant, and I went and got sushi, my last meal. And today I'm gonna have this meal for the last time. Started putting my affairs in order. I called my best friend and I told her, here's my bank account and here's everything and here's my mom's contact, and just have this just in case.
So she was here in Canada, we were back in Kenya. And the only way maybe we could talk to her was on WhatsApp or video call, but at that time we realized like she doesn't call a lot, she's so withdrawn. It broke my heart so much.
I remember when Sally first started talking about having suicidal thoughts, I wasn't too concerned at first because I have had quite a few conversations with people who've been suicidal. And I have some training for it for some of the work that I do. Sometimes I have them. And so it's like, okay, we can get, like, I was like, okay, she's talking about it, this is good. It's okay to be going through a hard time. But I remember there was a turning point where I actually started to get really scared and feel really awful when it was like nothing was working. Like to get really scared and feel really awful when it was like nothing was working, like all of the validation. I think I felt quite scared. I felt helpless. I felt
that Saturday I attempted, and it was that Saturday that I almost felt that I met death. I remember my body feeling lifeless, and I felt like I met my aunt, who had passed on about 5 years ago at that time. And she was very dear to me, for sure. And I asked her, is this what death feels like, Auntie? Is this what you went through to die? I seriously felt like I died. In that moment that I met my aunt and I told her, I can't imagine that you had to go through this and that this is how death felt like. I just couldn't feel myself. And I couldn't move. And I remember my friend and some neighbors asking if they could call an ambulance for me. And I said no, because I was still at the friend's place. And I said, I want to go home back to my place. So my friends drove out and they came and picked me up. And so the next day, I went to work. But because I had attempted so much that it was failing, I didn't want to fail at my last attempt. I did my research and I knew what interacts with what and how to fully do it. So that Monday, I went to a store and I bought a bunch of things, and I was sure now this is gonna do it. I went home and remember my roommate asking, "Are you okay? You know, I'm kind of worried about you." And I said, No, I'm fine. I'm just not feeling well, you know. I said, "Oh, okay. Let me know if you need anything." I said, yeah, I'll do. And I went into my room and I locked myself and took a lot of stuff. And I remember having convulsions in bed, and you know, I was dying, but I didn't want to die. And that's why when I think about people that suicide, I don't think that there's anyone that actually ever wants to do that. I laid there feeling lifeless, feeling helpless, and almost shaky. I can't find the best words to describe how my body was feeling in that moment, and I blacked out. I woke up the next morning. Even though feeling sickly, I put my clothes on. I actually woke up at 5. I think I went to bed at around 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. in the evening. And I remember waking up at 5 a.m. and I said, "I'm okay. I don't think I can do this. I'm going to work." I had promised I was going to work today. So I put on my clothes and I put in a few in my pocket. And I walked to work. And I went on through the day very okay. And I remember though being at work, and every time I would get a chance, because I didn't want to be present, and I would take a pill and like I will be tranquilized or sedated in a way. And so that day I didn't go home. And because I had a corner office, I just went and locked myself there. And I worked throughout the whole night. Because Even as much as I was trying, and they were meant to sedate me, I couldn't fall asleep. And so here I was in the office working away. I was working on reports and worked the whole night. And that morning a friend of mine called me and she couldn't find me, and she panicked and she sent people to look for me.
Honestly, when it was happening, it didn't feel that way. It just felt like a downward spiral and was never ending.
And so the police came to where I was, and they asked me, have you been thinking of ending your life? Ma'am, we have to go with you this time under the Mental Health Act that we have to take you with. And it's not something that I would have wanted anyone to know I was going through or I was struggling with. And so I said, okay, they took me to the hospital, and because I had taken so much, I went there and I immediately, as soon as I got to the hospital bed, I blacked out. But after my recovery and going back home, for a couple of days and weeks, I was still struggling. I didn't know what anxiety was. I didn't know what panic attacks were. But I remember now starting getting panic attacks, and I would be stuck in the bathroom and just shaking or feeling very anxious when I went out. And so I almost stopped going out, and I was thinking about this process or this journey. And I thought, I don't want anyone to ever learn about it. How am I supposed to walk out in front of people? How am I supposed to show up?
Stigma has been a big factor in mental health in general, whether it's suicide, depression, anxiety. And what we need to do is allow people to be able to speak freely, allow people to know that it's okay to seek for help.
And my anxiety had gotten so bad that I started going to the closet. I'm scared to have access to what I had because I was scared to end my life now. But I still had this temptation and this ideation still really ruminating over my brain. The closet was a saving grace for me. And kind of feel a sense of comfort and just relaxation almost.
I just needed to come here so I can clear my mind.
I don't know what I saw, and I don't know what I felt. And these two words came to me: choose life.
Choose life means more in that moment because you need the message, you need to hear it. That's divine intervention. That's your highest vibration of yourself stepping in and saying, I love you. And I get tender about that because it does matter. It really does.
I do not know how. And I remember springing out of the closet like a lost sheep that had found the way home. Went and picked my phone and I called my friend and I go, choose life, I'm okay, choose life. And she's like, I can't hear you, what are you trying to say? She couldn't understand me. And
the pregnancy, oh God. It happened when I was in school. I was young, I was actually a teenager. I happened to meet a friend. He was staying with my uncle. He was staying with my uncle around that place. So I stayed there for that night and it really rained. This guy actually came to assist me, like clean up the water because the water has just flown into the house. Yeah, but he came to assist like a good Samaritan and took advantage of me, and yeah, that is how I conceived. I was so scared, I didn't know what was happening. in my body since I was young. I was around 17 years, and at that time I was thinking like, no, this is not right. I felt like my dreams were shattered at that time. So one of my aunts who was staying with us told me like, I have a solution. I can help you get it out, you know. At that point I was so desperate. I can help you get it out, you know. At that point I was so desperate. So my aunt organized for this guy. He came home with some concoctions, you know. And first time, he came home with some concoctions, you know. And first time, he gave me this concoction. I drank and I waited. Nothing happened. Second time he came and I waited. Nothing happened. Second time he came with another thing. Nothing happened. I was being left alone in the house. When I was about to drink that poison, my friend, one of my best friends came, knocked in, and she tried to stop me. And I told her, you know what, it's pointless. I think I've just made one of the gravest mistakes. You know what, it's pointless. I think I've just made one of the gravest mistakes. Now she just told me, no, you can't do this. You see, even my sister, he has a baby, so many people, so you are not alone in this. I've seen many people go through such things. At that point when you become pregnant and maybe you are a little girl, you are just a teenager and you do not know what to do. You'll always find friends having a solution for you. People will come with different solutions, maybe. I know you can do this, you can flush this out and move on with your life. Any young girl out there, I know you might be there going through the same thing that I went. It's not the end of the world. Life still goes on. You can just go through the end of the world. Life still goes on. You can just go through your pregnancy, normal pregnancy, give birth, and then you can just continue with your school. So don't do it. Just be courageous.
Walking around the room and I'm saying choose life, and it was like, it felt like a lion, and I just got out of just that feeling, and I felt so powerful and so magical. Even just saying choose life for me is so life-giving.
Sometimes I would get panicked, or you know, sometimes if she said something nice, I would be like, is she saying this because she's saying goodbye? Or like, you just start reading into things. So like, then she would say no, you know, like, I am choosing life, and that was something that she said. She's like, you can trust me. This is what I've decided.
It's a different person, I find. Even starting to encourage people and even talk about it, which is a really brave thing to do. I don't have experience myself, but I encounter people who actually, that was when I was really young, and I know this friend of my grandma, and he killed himself, and I was there at that image. It just stay in my mind till this day. I was really mad. I am still mad because sorry.
There was a time in my life about 5 years ago that I had to come to terms with the fact that I may lose my child to suicide. That my love and all the work I did for myself may not be enough to keep my child here. Because the perception of life through the lens of my child's eyes and experience is different than mine. Thank the world and the universe that it was. We have made it through some really rough times and in and out of hospitals and psychosis and misdiagnosis. And it's heartbreaking to stand in our own storylines and say, I'm here. How can we step forward and say, like, I am not okay. I ask you for help. Like, I'm tired. That I can say to you, Sally, I'm sad. I'm not good right now. Do you have time for a quiet walk? Yes. And that one moment, we don't know how much it could change one person's life. Because I know for me, one person changed my life as a teenager, one police officer. If he had not been kind to me that day, I don't know if I'd still be here. Most likely not. But he helped me that day.
Let us remember how each of our actions, each day, can affect someone for life. In the spirit of Ubuntu, I am you, you are me, we share divine energy. And in a moment of anger and abuse, or in a moment of pure love, we can change the course of someone's life forever.
Tell me, what do you know about Auntie Sally?
She's super cool.
She gives me confidence.
While our intention is to bring folks together for messages of hope and healing, we also recognize that this may be a hard day for you. Your tears are welcome here. Now it's my honor and delight to introduce our speaker, Sally Martin.
The reason why I'm here today is to support and to also hopefully inspire somebody that has had or has been inflicted or has been affected by suicide. Such a gathering of individuals who understand and appreciate the importance of mental well-being. But today, I stand here as a survivor, as a woman who has battled and emerged victorious from the depths of psychological struggles and also suicide. It affects individuals regardless of their gender, age, background, social location, or status. What makes mental health uniquely difficult is its intangibility. The fact that it is something we cannot physically see. I am so honored and humbled today to be the recipient of the Multiculturalism and Anti-Racism Award. It is a battle found not in a battlefield, but within the depths of our own minds. But today, I stand here in front of you all as a testament of a battle conquered. And what was reborn and reinvented is this courageous, free, loving spirit you experience today. I honor those who have succumbed to suicide today, and all those like me that have survived as well. And those that may still be in the battle. I pray that you may find the courage to seek help from someone you trust and feel safe, or even reach out to myself. Now I know the seduction of death awakened my soul, empowered me to live a life filled with purpose, gratitude, and forever grateful to the lost soul that found her way, that is standing here today.
My name is Sally Martin, And I'm a suicide survivor.
I need a miracle. I need a miracle. I need a miracle. Oh, I need a miracle. I need a miracle. I need a miracle. Oh, anybody out there feeling lost? Raise your hands and wave them to the sky. Hold a bit longer, you'll be fine.
No less to you now than the mastodon then. Here, on the pulse of this new day, you may have the grace to look up and out and into your sister's eye and into your brother's face, your country, and say simply, very simply, with hope, good morning.